God calls to Moses from the burning bush, and Moses says, here I am. And God gives him this commission of what he is going to do. He is going to be the leader that leads his people out of Egypt. God has seen the misery, he's seen the oppression. And then he gives him this commission. You're going to go to Pharaoh and say, let my people go. And then Moses says, I go to the Israelites, I say to them, the God of my fathers has sent me to you. And they ask me, what is his name? Then what shall I tell them? And already we're getting a sense of what's happened here is you've got this first book of Genesis where all of these people have these encounters with God. God says to Abraham, I'm going to make a nation out of you. God makes a covenant and a promise, and he sets off this story. But already we've gotten to a point where not only is Moses a character that's not really trusted by God's people, but there's been some distance from those encounters with God. So Moses has this recognition of like, even if I say to you, the God of your fathers, like, I need some more here. Like they've been groaning and you haven't done anything. And we're really disconnected at this point from Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and the covenant and the story and the promise. And so what do? God says to Moses in this English translation, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. God also said to Moses, say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has sent me to you. This is my name forever, the name you shall call me from generation to generation. So it's important. I love the way the kid asked this question. Why did God name himself this? Whether she means this or knows this or not, there's a recognition there that like, it's not just about what does the name mean? Why did he name himself this? And there's a story in which the purpose of giving the name is not just, hey, I need someone to put on my name tag. Yep. The purpose is to qualify and like legitimate this prophet Moses, to give him information that will say, I really have sent you. I know God's name. But then to describe this personal relationship with a people, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This name I'm giving you is for generation to generation. And for God to really kick off this new thing he's doing, I'm going to set my people free from Egypt. I'm going to use my servant Moses to do that. This is the name that you need to tell them, to say who I am and what my relationship is with you. And it even says a few chapters later in Exodus, God did not make himself fully known to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob because this name wasn't given yet. But in this crucial moment, this name is given, which kicks off a whole bunch of uses of this name. That the name that he uses, that in English, trying to pronounce the Hebrew sounds, we would say today, Yahweh, that name shows up tons and tons of times in the Old Testament. And it becomes not only significant for identifying who this God that Israel worships is, in distinction to all of these other gods that are rivals or idols that the nations are worshiping, but also it becomes really significant because this is how Israel is identified, is they worship this one specific God, Yahweh, who they would say is not just one God among many, but the creator of all things, sovereign over all things, that defeats all of the other gods.
I know we should get more into like uses of the name in the Bible, why you'll see in our English translations, it's Lord in all caps and all that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to lose this train of thought either because I think that's so beautiful. I also just think so I'll be honest, I'm mostly just pulling from Tim Mackey from the Bible Project.
Yeah.
But I was doing some research. That's right, everyone. I can do some research.
You also
too.
do some research, yeah.
And there's so much significance in the meaning of Yahweh and in how all of this came to be. So even like when you go to that passage in Exodus, God tells Moses what he wants him to do. And Moses first says, well, who am I? Who am I that I could go do this? And at that point in our English translations, it says, and God said, I will be with you. Well, that's the first part of what God says later, that the Hebrew word is Yahweh, which is I will be. Essentially this I will be who I am.
Yeah.
And then it is later when once again Moses says, but I don't even know your name, that God says Yahweh, and then there's another Hebrew word, I don't remember, Yahweh, right? It's like, I will be who I will be. That is my name only. And then it gets changed to Yahweh because the is the I will be, right? I, and the Yah is the he.
Yeah.
That's right. Are you so impressed right now?
That's
Kaitlyn,
great.
I'm just telling you everything you already know. Okay. Why does this matter? I love two things about this. I love that when Moses says to God, who am I? God's response is not to build up Moses.
Yes.
It is to say, doesn't matter who you are. This is who I am.
Yes.
And then that God identifies his name not in the Almighty, the powerful, the wonderful, the magnificent. It is in his presence. I will be with you. I am the God who is and forever will be with you. And so it does not matter, Moses, how powerful Pharaoh is.
Yes.
I am with you. And I think there is so much meaning there. And we see this theme throughout scripture that how do you know someone? Well, you know someone by their name and by their story. And over again, God tells his people, this is my name. I am the God who is with you. And this is the story. I am the God of Abraham, of Isaac. I am the God who brought you out of slavery, out of oppression. I am the God who keeps my promises. And forever I will be with you.
Yeah.
And I just think, oh, that's so powerful for us.
Yes.
It's so easy to look over that English phrase, I am who I am. Okay, that sounds kind of profound and deep, but I'm confused. But in reality, it sets up the very premise of God's relationship with his people.
I love that. And it reminds me, something I go back to so often is in the beginning of the 10 Commandments, before you get into, do all of these things, don't do all of these things, it doesn't just start with like, do it because I told you to do it. Mm-hmm. It starts with, I am the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt.
Yes.
And even later when it's talking about teaching the law to your children and to further generations, it begins with, I am the Lord who brought you out of Egypt. So there's both this recognition that, of course, God is all powerful and sovereign, and so can dictate, here are the terms I want you to live, not only because I'm all powerful and all sovereign, but I made you. I know how you should live. I'm going to give that to you. But it doesn't just start with an abstract philosophical defense of who God is, and then because of that, here, do these things. It starts with, remember this story. When you're passing down to your children, which we have failed to do very often, when you're passing down to your children these laws I told you to keep, it comes encapsulated in a story about what I have done for you before you even respond to me by obeying these laws I've given. And too often, especially in parts of evangelicalism, we've said the important thing is teaching our children these moral rules. Mm-hmm. And even in scripture, where there are a part of scripture where there's tons of moral rules, it starts with, this is who God is. This is what God has already done for you, which is, not even directly for us. Like, this is who God has been in the past. These are the people that you belong to and my relationship I've already had to them. And because of that, then you respond by living this way. Hi, everyone. I hate doing this, but our producer Mike is making me tell you to like and subscribe so that you can see more Holy Post videos and other people can see them too.